What's up YouTube, this is Uzmaki101 and today I'll be discussing the new vampire support in Shadow Specters. The vampire archetype is quite an old archetype. It's kind of what they did with ninjas in Order of Chaos. They've kind of brought everything together and given the archetype some direction so you can actually run it as a standalone deck rather than just as an inclusion in a zombie deck. Probably the most familiar vampire card is Vampire Lord, originally released as a secret rare in Dark Crisis, and it's that card that the new cards use as sort of a basis. The Vampire Lord card sends cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, and certain vampire support cards about to be released activate when cards are sent from your opponent's deck to the graveyard. The new vampire support specifically lists dark vampire monsters because there are two cards which are vampire monsters in the TCG but not OCG. They're Earth, and that's Vampire Koala and Vampire Orcus, which are not vampires in the OCG. One card which will have to be errated or a slight clause given in the new vampire support is a card called Red Moon Baby from Pharaoh's Servant. It's a level 3 zombie monster that is a vampire in the OCG, and it's dark, so it would fall under the support. So that'll probably be in Astral Pack or something with a name change, much like Harpy's brother became Sky Scout. The first card I'm going to talk about is probably the main workhorse of the deck, and it's called Vampire Sorcerer. It's a dark zombie level 4 with 1500 attack and 1500 defense. Its effect reads: if this card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, you can add one dark vampire monster or one vampire spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. So instantly it's a searcher. During your main phase you can banish this card from your graveyard. You can normal summon one dark vampire monster this turn without tributing. So not only do you get to search monster, you then get to banish it and then normal summon your Vampire Lord or one of the new cards like Shadow Vampire, because a lot of them are level 5 and 6. So that's really quite good. Probably going to be a 3 of. The next card is Shadow Vampire, which is a dark zombie level 5 with 2000 attack and 0 defense. Its effect reads: when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one dark vampire monster from your hand or deck except Shadow Vampire. So this is a up to level 5 tour guide for the deck. So that's extremely good. If you do, monsters you control other than that monster cannot declare an attack this turn. This card cannot be used as Xyz material except for the Xyz summon of a dark monster. So the basic idea of this is you banish the Sorcerer, you normal summon this, special summon probably Vampire Lord, and then you can go into the new Xyz, which I'll cover in a minute, or into Adrius or Shark Fortress or something like that. So this is really good, instant rank 5 with some setup. Not bad at all. The next card appears to be the Queen of the Vampires, Vampire Grace. It's a dark zombie level 6 with 2000 attack, 1200 defense. Its effect reads: when a level 5 or higher zombie type monster is special summoned to your side of the field by the effect of a zombie type monster, while this card is in your graveyard, you can pay 2000 life points, special summon this card from your graveyard, and you can only use that effect over Vampire Grace once per turn. So it recurs itself at a fairly steep cost, which 2000, I think it would probably be better if it was 1000, but there we go. It is a 2k beat stick for nothing, effectively. The last line of its effect reads: once per turn you can declare one card type, monster, spell or trap, and your opponent sends one card of that type from the deck to the graveyard. That's what I was talking about earlier, sending cards from the deck to the graveyard, and this will trip off some of the support. Main offensive force of the deck is Vampire Bram the Edelritter. Edelritter, I think, is German for something along the lines of Noble Knight, although it doesn't actually fall under Noble Knight support even in Germany if they don't change the name. It's Dark Zombie rank 5 with 2500 attack and 0 defense. Requires 2 level 5 zombie type monsters. Its effect reads: you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon that target to your side of the field. You can only use this effect of Vampire Bram the Edelritter once per turn. If you do, monsters you control other than that monster cannot attack this turn. So that's ridiculously broken already. Just special summon your opponent's strongest monster. Also makes Vampire mirror matches quite interesting, to say the least. Second part of its effect reads: if this card on the field is destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, special summon this card from your graveyard in face-up defense position during the next turn's standby phase. So not only does this thing special summon your opponent's monsters, it also pretty much infinitely recurs itself. So I would recommend packing things like Deep Prison, Bottomless, Defissure if vampires become big. Although if it does come back on your opponent's turn, then it'll be in defense mode, so they can't switch it to attack, so they won't be able to beat your face with it. But it is a rank 5 monster, so they will be able to just overlay for Gaia over it and then punch you in the face. So that's a thing. I can really see this being ultra or secret, I'll be honest. Okay, they get one support spell in the form of a field spell. It's called Vampire Empire. Its artwork is kind of the stereotypical Transylvanian village with the castle at the top of the hill. It looks quite cool. Zombie type monsters gain 500 attack during damage calc only, so that's really nice because Vampire Lord and I think Vampire Lady as well need to do battle damage to send the cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, so obviously ties in quite nicely. Once per turn, when a card or cards is sent from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, send one dark vampire monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, then target one card on the field and destroy it. Obviously this is mandatory, so it can backfire, kind of like Harpy's Hunting Ground, but you can target itself, so if you need to. But it's just the fact that you can make your opponent mill a card with one of the vampire effects and then pop something on top of that. It's really, really good. I think this is definitely an interesting field spell, because who doesn't love popping your opponent's stuff? So, yeah. And to round off the new support, they get one trap in the form of Vampire Shift. If your field spell card zone is unused and the only face-up monsters you control are zombie type, activate one Vampire Empire from your deck. Then you can special summon one dark vampire monster from your graveyard in face-up defense position. You can only activate one Vampire Shift per turn. So not only do you get your field spell from your deck, you also get a free vampire in defense position. And that can be like a Sorcerer or something like that, so it doesn't even matter really if it's in defense. Or just go for Xyz. Or it's also tribute fodder for your level 5 or higher as well. So this is really good, and kind of just completes the support of the archetype. I can imagine this being quite a fun deck to run actually, so I might actually put this deck together. If you want to see some Mojo Pro duels with this deck, give this video a thumbs up, just so I know. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to go over today. I think the support is really quite good, and vampires look to be quite an interesting new deck. So yeah, this has been Uzmak and I1, signing out.